Today we're interviewing Rajesh Bose, who plays the father in The Life of Pi. The Life of Pi is considered one of the most visually stunning pieces of theater to come to Broadway, and it opens tomorrow night. Let's talk to Rajesh. Rajesh,
Yes,
so this is your Broadway debut in Life of Pi.
it is.
How did you get the role?
Very traditionally, submitted by my agent and audition, called back, and magically I got it.
Was this a role that you had coveted, that you really wanted to play? Did you know about the role?
I didn't actually. I really, previous to the getting the audition notice, I was not aware of Life of Pi in the UK particularly. But when I saw it, of course, I looked everything up. I saw what it was. And it seemed like a role that I felt like I could be successful at. So, but something like that, I was a bit of nerves because, you know, if something I think there's no way I'm getting this, it's a lot easier to audition for something like that.
Of
But here's
course.
like, oh, I might actually get this. Let me not screw this up, kind of thing.
Well, you have amazing training. I mean, Bedlam, MTC.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm very proud of the shows I've done at Bedlam, at Roundabout, all through New York. Yeah, absolutely.
And you were on Madam Secretary.
Briefly, yes.
Who did you play?
Madam Secretary. That's one of the smaller ones. I believe I played an FBI agent on Madam Secretary, if I recall correctly.
What's your favorite role that you've done?
My favorite role. It's hard to narrow one. For Bedlam, the first show I did at Bedlam was Pygmalion, and I got to play Alfred Doolittle, and I adored that role. I got to play Amir in Disgrace several times, which was certainly eventful. Those are the ones that come to mind. On TV, I was in the series finale of The Sopranos, a very, very tiny part, but anytime people know that or mention that, people seem to light
You
up.
say The Sopranos to me because I worked on it.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I could think of is the craft service table.
Oh, really?
That was the best craft service table
Yes,
ever.
I recall it being really good, yes.
What kind of roles would you like to take on?
A while back, I got to play York in Henry VI, which was, I didn't know it at the time when I got it because I didn't really know the play at the time, but afterwards I was like, that was a dream role. And as I reach a different age category, I'd like to tackle those kinds of roles.
Are there playwrights that you'd like to work with?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to see it next Sunday or the Sunday after, but Mishu Chowdhury's show at Soho Rep is going up and apparently doing very, very well. And I just met him, and so he's somebody that sort of comes to mind as far as a living playwright. I would love to work with Lolita again. It's been Lolita who wrote this adaptation of Life of Pi. And I have several playwright friends who are up and coming, who I'm sort of feel attached to, having known them for so long, so, personally. But outside of the living playwrights, I'm always a fan of George Bernard Shaw and Shakespeare and Stoppard and things like that.
What is your role in Life of Pi like?
It's playing Pi's dad, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy. There's moments in the play where I feel very much like my own father, and it reminds me of, this is set in the 70s. I was a child in the 70s, and I feel like there was a different kind of a more accepted level of discipline of children than there is now. And I certainly had parents who were strict, but it was always out of love. So I'm not a parent myself, but I get the sense that it's not quite the same now in the way children are disciplined, let's say. And so
More.
yeah, but I say that all with love. I mean, I have a fond memory of childhood. So But yeah, I am, especially how they had me dressed, and my partner watches the show and she says, "You walk very differently when you're dressed like that," and I
Oh,
feel like
nice.
I'm walking like my dad a bit. So,
Life of Pi is very spiritual.
hmm.
Has it brought in any spiritual aspects of yourself to the forefront?
That's a great question. I don't know about spiritual necessarily. I will say, um, not necessarily the play itself, but the experience of being in this production,
Mhm.
because we've been doing this since October in Boston,
Right.
and this company, the leaders of this creative team, our director, our playwright, the level of care they have for all of us is unusual. It's so high. Like, it is such a profoundly lovely group of people who are leading us that several of us in the cast who are, let's say, my age or older, I think for the first month, I will speak for myself, we're waiting for that to end.
Oh, yeah, the ball to draw.
Yeah. But then it became like, no, this is actually how they are. And to me, that was spiritually lovely. Like, I just felt,
You're telling me that says that they're continuing the tradition of Pi. And in order to bring a show like this, I think you have to have that. I
yeah,
think you have to have love
yes.
and a higher standard.
Yeah, I think that's very well said, and I think they have taken that on. And it certainly took me some time to really accept that that's the case. I think having done this for how long I have, my guard's always a little up. That you know,
Mm.
but it's not needed here.
What would you like audiences to take away from seeing Life of Pi?
It's sort of like any play with a little bit of complexity. Everybody's going to have their own life experience and take that away from them. But um, what I feel at the end of the show during curtain call is, and what I hope everyone is getting is, whatever they're taking away. Because my partner, for example, saw the show and she was almost triggered. It is a very disturbing. There's a disturbing plot line at times.
Right.
Uh, some people, I had a friend who came to see the show. This was his first play ever in his life he had ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And it was a Broadway production of Life of Pi, and he was shaking at the end. He was like,
Does he want to see more now?
Yeah, he was like, he was very new to the whole, and he was looking around. He's like, oh, what is that? And like, he has become a fan now, which is very, but he said he had,
But that's what theater should do. Theater
Yes.
should move you to want to see more, to know more.
yes, and I'm very, very glad that it seemed to do this with him, because he said he had goosebumps at the end when it was over, and that was very satisfying. But as for everybody else, I hope they have the experience that it allows them to have, and my feeling at the end is that whatever one's experience is, there is a level of joy at the end. Even if they're a little disturbed by it, even if they're made sad by it, there seems to be this feeling of joy from the audience at the curtain call that I have not really experienced in a show that I can recall in a long time.
You can tell we're totally in New York.
Yes, I know that.
I like, no matter where you are, you're going to get noise.
Right.
Is there any other questions that I haven't asked you that you would like our audience to know?
I will say, when we had the round of interviews on press day and everything like that, one of the startling things about the show is there are, I might have the numbers wrong, but I believe there are 10 South Asian American actors in the show.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are making our Broadway debut. This is one of the most I mean, of course, an August Wilson play is going to have
We
an
had the
album.
Kite Runner.
Yeah, we had the Kite Runner. But it does seem like a resurgence at the moment of diversity for Asian and South Asian communities.
Mm.
Right now, there seem to be 4 plays going on in New York City.
It seems right now that everyone's trying to be politically correct. wouldn't it be lovely if we stopped thinking, oh, this person's Asian, this person's this, instead of just talent? That's what boggles my mind these days.
Sure, I would add to that, however, that there's always been folks who have been talented who just haven't had opportunities
True.
to perform, and I I think it's telling that all of us, many of us who are very experienced, who have been doing
Right.
this for a long time, are getting our Broadway debuts. Now, I want to qualify that. I don't mean to imply that simply because somebody is South Asian that they should just automatically be on Broadway, or simply somebody is this. Of course not. As was pointed out, I, for example, am not a singer, so that knocks me out of 75% of Broadway, as it would
Yeah,
be.
because there's Bollywood, all
Yeah.
the Bollywood musicals, there's like 3 coming in.
Right. I know Monsoon Wedding is
Yeah.
going to happen in Brooklyn, perhaps on Broadway as well. So, I'm not in any way implying that, but there is, for example, there's an organization, AAP. Again, I'm getting the acronym wrong, but they gave a tally of who's on Broadway and how many roles are available, and always Latinos and Asians, with the occasional blip because of Hamilton or because
Right.
of the percentage of members of who are
Right.
Actors Equity versus who are on Broadway. It's
Right.
always among the lowest. Now, that doesn't mean we force people to be on Broadway, but when there are more opportunities for everybody to participate, I think it's better for everybody. I mean, it's not.
Well, I think we might see more of that with Life of Pi, because word on the street is this thing is amazing, that it's this visually beautiful. To me, it sounds like Warhorse.
Yes, I mean, it's the same team, the puppetry team. Finn Caldwell, who designed Warhorse as well, is working on this team. The puppeteers are extraordinary in
I
this
can't
show.
wait to see the tiger.
We have a puppeteer team of 8, and they all of them are essentially world-class athletes, because what they're doing with their bodies every night is.
Amazing.
I need physical therapy, and I'm just walking on a rake stage, and that's hard enough for me. But these guys.
Wow.
So, kudos to them. But I mean, I think in the larger point, I think sometimes there's this feeling that, we can't find any actors who are of X, who are this or that.
Really?
But that's not true. Here we are.
No, that is not true.
If anybody's looking, here we are. So, it is something I've heard over the years, that people are afraid to have a play with the South End because we'll never find the
Really?
actors. And I sometimes
That just boggles my mind.
it boggles my mind, because I know so many and who are hardworking and talented, and
It
we're
boggles
here.
my mind that anyone would think that in this day and age.
I feel like people sometimes still think that. I think that's sometimes a thought in producers or heads, that how are
That's
we going
crazy,
to cast this?
seriously. You know what it is? It's
Mm.
probably not that there isn't that actor. It's that there isn't that actor with credits that can
Right.
sell a show.
Mm.
It's probably that mentality.
I think perhaps, yeah, they want a star, and there are only a handful of people that might
Yeah,
consider
exactly.
a star. That would, but I also, I wonder if that in 10 years that could change in the way how stars are made. I mean,
I hope so.
well, I mean, I see that, like, it is not, how do I say it? It is beneficial, apparently, if you happen to have a lot of Instagram followers
Oh, yeah.
to get a job, which is
That's
a different
true.
kind of stardom.
But that's in any kind of job now.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
I mean, it's like influencers,
Yeah.
which it's like so stupid because you could actually buy those things.
Right. It seems very
Superficial.
random, superficial. Yes. Penny is, I think, working to try to get me to be on social media, but I hate it. I find it personally a bit
I do it
exhausting.
because I have a paper, but
Right.
in all honesty, I basically, here's the story on the paper, here's the story on the
Yes.
paper. It's really rare that I actually socially interact. Happy
here.
birthdays, definitely.
Yeah.
It's an easier way to do it.
Yes.
But yeah, having conversations on that, Even texting for me, I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
why, just call me.
Just call, and I don't like doing this, so.
Yeah, well, I'm bad at it.
Yeah,
And I find, my mind races, so I find myself skipping words or letters or writing something wrong, and I'm like, oh God, now it's there.
yeah.
At least when I write in the paper, I can go back and correct.
Yes, yes, yeah,
So
exactly.
I look forward to seeing you on the show. I'm actually seeing it Saturday afternoon.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
So-
That'll give us a day after opening, so we will
Yes,
have recovered
exactly.
from opening night, so Saturday's great.
Let's hope that this time the cast does not disappear after opening night.
I don't think that'll be happening here.
Good. No, it's been happening that they party, they get COVID, and then the next day the cast is out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to be laughing at that, but it's getting to be ridiculous. When is Life of Pi opening?
The 30th of March. It opens tomorrow, March 30th, opening night.
And what theater is it playing at?
At the Schoenfeld, which is on 45th Street.
We wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.